The man behind the camera, young man Doug. Glad to see him getting some love. And welcome back to the SCL. Finch here, joined by Anatoly. We've been rocking together all day long.
We have.
Been a good day so far.
It has been.
We're going to keep it going into game number 3 here, Toly. And let's go and get the standings up on the screen here first off. But we're so excited to move into this first game.
Yeah, especially after watching the Documentary over there. Going to the PlayStation North American side of things. A big disparity between Shrimp Gang and everyone else.
Yes, that's exactly right. It's actually a big disparity on both ends. Shrimp Gang undefeated, Benedict's Cavalry winless so far, and then Cyclone and Big Money Esports right in between. I'm trying to keep things tight, but we'll be seeing Shrimp Gang here in this very first matchup up against Cyclone. So this is what I expect to be the best matchup. There is some talent on this Cyclone team, but man, it's hard to beat Shrimp Gang. These are one-time world champions on this team, tons of talent, and they've been looking strong so far. Maybe a little bit loose at some points, but I think that's to be expected. They're a strong enough team. They know that they can bring it back when they need to.
Well, Rival were very clean in the last set. We'll
That's
see
right.
if that Shrimp Gang can do the same thing up against Cyclone. And you mentioned the talent on this roster. You got Nikwid, Jumpa, Covey, Matt Koiz, and Zaxi from the Xbox world of yesteryear, now in the PlayStation side of things, are absolutely dominating this world. And it's up to Cyclone now to try to find a victory in their Week 3 matchup. It went in the way of Shrimp Gang 2-1, though. So they did drop a game. It's important for them to come out clean if they want to really start dominating North America and transition that up against Rival if they ultimately meet up at LAN.
That's right. That's what these teams need to be making sure they're looking forward to, especially, I think, if you're Hype Unit, if you're, if you're Shrimp Gang or Rival, or one of those teams that's up at the top and there's a good bit of space between them, is that the reason you want to be playing clean is you want to get that practice of executing when you are ahead. Make sure that in these big matchups on the big screen that you're ready to go, because eventually, like you said, these teams are going to be coming to LAN and fighting for a chance to mix and match with some of the other players, like from SML, from SPL, and that sort of thing. So you really want to make sure that you're getting all the good high-quality practice you can.
That's right. Covey definitely no stranger to that practice, as he's up against, or rather playing the Merlin when it was introduced in the console competitive side. Matt Koiz still loves his Geb, still loves his Kepri, just doing the Matt Koiz things, really respecting his backline carry potential. And that takes just a lot of team synergy when you know you got that kind of support in your backline.
That's right, and Shrimp Gang is the kind of team I expect that to be coming through, right? You've got Jumpa in the jungle, and he's someone who can independently be a win condition for this team really at any given moment. Really just about anybody could. Covey, it could as well. I mean, that's what makes this team so scary. So I think that it's easy to have that trust in one another when not only have you played together, as long as some of these players have, but also that you know that you all each have that individual skill.
And on the opposite end here, for Cyclone, it's up to Yarbadkid, the jungler on this side, to find a way to shut down that kind of momentum, because just like Rival did in the last set, I think that Shrimp Gang are going to be looking for that early game momentum plays. So recognizing this, Cyclone need to find out if there are any weaknesses that they can exploit in the draft.
I think so too. Maybe look towards trying to get. I'm glad Original's coming up. He's certainly someone that you want to have looking good. But what about maybe getting Adaption into a position where he can be feeling good as well? He's looked good for the squad in some of the spots that I've seen him. So there's a lot to be said for how well this team can play. They just got to make sure that they're, like you said, getting the right pieces in place for their team, putting themselves in the best spot to try and win. Like last set, we saw a lot of experimentation. We saw them not necessarily set up to succeed. This team has to make sure, if they want to try and take down a very strong Shrimp Gang roster, they set themselves up to win.
That's very true, and that's going to be the key to the success. I think that if they can find that early game success, they can definitely translate that to victories later. But it's going to come down to Bodilla playing that support role as well, to look for more ways to make Matt Koiz just less effective at the end of the day, because you know he's going to be looking for that Kepri in the Geb.
That's right. He plays those very well. Matt Koiz feels like one of our true supports that's still remaining out there, because there's so much aggression in the support role nowadays. But Matt Koiz is the kind of guy that's like, I'll peel for you, I'll die for you, I'll get you out of there. So he feels like that kind of player to me still at this point. So I like him playing that mentality. But we shall delay you no longer. Picks and bans for game number 1. Let's get them up on the screen and see exactly what it is that we're prioritizing. I believe Cyclone, one's behind me, back over there, are the ones that are going to be the first pick. This time Shrimp Gang will be waiting. So I imagine we'll see Shrimp Gang banning away the King Arthur, and we saw Shibalonke in that slot, I think, as well lately.
Yeah, that's just an obnoxious thing to deal with. Darkest of Nights, never a pleasant thing on the opposite end of the field, and it's not something that he's just going to hard carry by himself. It's like the team mentality, right? You turn out the lights, everyone else is going to be going aggressively, so if you're looking for a throwaway ban ever, Xbalanque is like your top 3 throwaway ban.
Definitely one you don't want to deal with, as it looks like King Arthur has been taken off the table there as well. Now the question becomes, are we going to see some of these other priority picks, like the Freya, be prioritized here, like the Najah, some picks that have gone away? There's that Khepri, like you talked about, a Matt Koi special. Makes sense to ban that one too.
And we even forget about Bacchus in this day and age,
Bacchus,
where
yeah.
getting some of those buffs, getting not as much playing time as you would consider, and with this Merlin and Arthur, you would think Freya would get picked here. So we're waiting for Cyclone to go in.
Merlin
here.
makes sense to ban too there.
Especially with Kobe playing it out. But Xbalanque is still available. No surprise that Cyclone go for that.
And immediately snap luck that one in. Like you said, the Darkest of Nights does not need a publicist. Doesn't mean to come out and talk about how good that ability is. So it's immediately picked up. I think Xbalanque is a decent hunter by himself. I mean, the Rising Jaguar safety is very nice. The bolas are good for fights. But maybe not just by himself the best hunter. That Darkest of Nights is really what it feels like pushes him over the edge.
I love the fact that not only was the Freya selected for Shrimp King, but it was the Bologna on top of it. Something that really hurts the Freya in the late game is any form of disarm. So you're looking at Fafnir, Bologna, even a Musin Cobb. It has some form of disarm. So having the Bologna on Shrimp King takes away some of that disarm that she has to worry about.
That's a good point. You not only pick up something strong, but you pick up its opposite as well in the same fell swoop, which does, I think, going to help out for Shrimp Gang, push them a little bit further out. Meanwhile, Cyclone picks up Giannis Terra, and with every fiber of my being, I hope that is a Giannis in the middle lane.
I hope so too. I think that they need it to be Giannis in the middle lane.
Right.
But I like the fact that it's Giannis combined with a Xbalanque. That's an all-in aggressive strategy. It's something that Enemy used to do way back in Season 3, this kind of Giannis, Xbalanque. They also added an Odin to the mix to be a little bit more aggressive, or Guan Yu from time to time for Mr. Pain de Villon. But this is an aggressive strategy, so if Cyclone can get off to that early game start, it's going to make it tricky for this Freya out of Shrimp Gang to be successful in the later stages.
If they can keep it down early on. We'll see, though. Freya still feels formidable even early on. Maybe not quite that same burst potential in one shot immediately that she used to have after those changes, but she certainly has plenty of damage, as it looks like Bacchus is still getting valued. A band comes out. That is yet another eye they've turned towards Matt Koiz here, Tolly.
It's no surprise. Matt Koiz is the staple, I think, into this team. It's outside of Jumpa as well. He's kind of like the lifeline and the lifeblood, rather, of this team. Just the energy coming from this young support player. So I like the fact that they're kind of focusing him out. The Khepri is a specific focus out. Bacchus, I'm banning Bacchus almost any of my games in the secondary phase. I'd rather not deal with that, but taking a shot at him for sure on this Khepri.
I think Odin's a good band, too. This is one they definitely could have still picked up and had some good relevance for. No one really with a good way out of that on the side of Cyclone, so a smart band by them. And I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen more Odin, to tell you the truth, Totally. He's so strong, has so much damage early on. Lockdown is very good as well. Maybe not the best follow-up, though I think Typhoon from Susano feels good into a cage.
It's not too shabby. There's going to be plenty of knockups there. It's not just a Typhoon. You got Erlong, Shen, Turtle Form knockup, the Freya Whoop, and also just the Eagles rally from Bologna. So I'm liking the team fight potential from Shrimp Gang, even though they don't really have their mid laner quite yet.
Yeah, it looks like they are still waiting. Very likely Freya will be going over to Zaxi, I'd imagine so, though they still have a mage to pick. But I love seeing Najah come through. This maybe isn't quite the traditional follow-up you think of for a Najah. You usually want a bunch of burst all at once coming down when he comes out of it. But even without that, Najah plenty strong to remove someone from the fight, for control, for early pressure. This is still a great pick. And the Ao Kuang now to pair along with it. So now that's making me think this is Terra's going over to solo.
It could be the case. And if I'm Shrimp Gang, I'm thinking of ways to mitigate the Ao Kuang execute. And I'm thinking of healers, and I'm thinking of Ross specifically. But with an aggressive draft, Discordia synergizes well with the passive, augmenting more power, whether it's magical or physical. God doing the top player damage of that team. Probably going to be the Susanoo, though, receiving that buff.
Yeah, maybe Nickwood as well in this Bologna, depending on how aggressively he plays. But you're right. Some good beneficiaries for this Discordia passive are out there right now. But let's go ahead and start moving into the game. It's going to be Shrimp Gang and Cyclone moving into Game 1 here in PS4 NA.
Thanks a lot there, John Finch. Tom on the call, joined here by the one and only Hindu Man. How you doing there, bud?
Not so bad. I don't often get to see much PlayStation North America, but today I will. It's a good big game as well, thinking about it, because we get to see if Shrimp Gang can do the double over everybody in the league so far.
Right now they're undefeated. We're going to see if they can continue that. And so far as their draft is concerned, gotta like what I'm seeing. We see Jumbo repping the the Keegan clan. And then Covey over there in the mid lane on the Discordia. Gotta like that.
Well, what I do like is the starts, as always. A bit of a cheeky invade from both going on, at least try to slow them down. At least on the right-hand side, I should say, is Bodilla's looking to be a nuisance towards Jumper. Not as much as he was hoping for, mind.
Just a little bit too late on the ring bounce. Najah, one of the better characters when it comes to stealing away these buffs, but not going to be successful this time around, unfortunately. That said, he'll jump into the mid lane and dink Covey right there.
Really do looking at these compositions, though, feel like both teams have the same sort of mid-game, late-game strategy, both with high amounts of mobility and self-peel, so we'll see how this one works out as time goes on. Cyclone definitely a little bit more mobile with those Giannis portals more than anybody else.
Absolutely. They're going to be able to kind of slip on through, and Bad Kid should be able to play very aggressive, and if he winds up tripping up, well, there's an easy way out. Matt Koiz threatens the damage and then falls back, but still, control of the left lane seems to belong to Shrimp Gang. Here's a nice double pin, one beads, and the other, Bodilla will get his sprint. So both actives grabbed by a single pin. Nice job there from Matt Koiz.
Yeah, but that shouldn't be the case, should it? Let's be honest, a pin on two people in the second wave of the game? You can't be grouping like that up in the duo lane, because if you do, then you use your relics and then you die.
Easy peasy. Shrimp Gang with the first blood. Zaxi off of a good play from Matt Koiz in the mid lane. Mage will be safe. Nice portal there.
When your voice does that give you a chance that they may live?
Yes.
Is that what that's for?
Yes.
Cool.
That is 100% what that is for.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd ask, you know? So if you just extend it, you might think like Benjaru, it'll be okay.
Exactly.
Oh, it works.
Because it's either, he
See
either
what
goes
you did
down
there.
or he's up.
It is the opposite of down. Well done. We're on form with that one. Shrimp Gang getting first blood, though. No real surprise. The worst thing is it goes to Zaxi on the Freya, which doesn't help things. Sure, Koi's in the Erlang Shen, definitely a lane bully to start things off with, at least the level 1, level 2 stage. But giving it to the Freya, and someone that we don't get to see too much of because, well, everyone's pretty much had a ban for such a long period of time, and people aren't sure whether she's going to be that useful.
I think she's now in an interesting spot. I'm always hesitant to say balanced when it comes to characters that have been considered overpowered for so long, but I think Freya's in a nice spot. I actually saw, I don't understand, I saw a conversation online about whether she was even viable, and I said, okay, you're way off the mark. Of course she's viable, but I still think she's strong. But I think she's in a much better spot than she has been in the past.
As long as the ultimate still takes her out of combat for multiple seconds and does as much damage as it does, well, hold that thought. Bodilla might need some help here.
Needs a whole lot of it. Zaxi with the number 2 kill. And if I can push up my glasses real quick and say, actually, Freya Ultimate does not take her out of combat. It simply makes her untargetable. She is both damageable by way of dots, and she is technically still in combat with respect to if she could blink or not.
Okay, nerd, keep talking. Like, it doesn't matter to me. She's technically out of combat and still deals damage, right?
She's not out of combat. She's dealing damage. That's the thing. You can't pause.
She can't blink, but at the same time, she's in the air anyway, so she
She's
doesn't
in
need to
combat.
blink.
She's in combat.
She's powerful. She always will be for the most part. The main thing that's changed with Freya over time, though, is the amount of the burst damage she's got more than anything else off her combination of wave clip.
And
It was a little bit too potent. Now it's consistently potent, but
exactly.
not too much.
Yeah, it's still definitely very strong, but I think what made old Freya deal withable was the fact that she has an off button, so to speak. But now, certainly different. Hinder just pointed out
That is crit, right?
the first item critical strike for Bodilla here.
See, I saw
What?
it and I was like, hang on, is that going to be one of the swords that goes into the wing blade and stuff? Because I've messed around with those sword builds quite a bit and actually prefer them. But see the hidden dagger in a support position with that cheeky bit of crit in there? Sure, 5%'s 5%, and we've seen the crit meta before, but
And it goes higher.
In the support role, Tom,
Yeah.
I'm not really sold on this.
Yeah, I mean, so
And you're behind, you've died twice in laning phase, and you can't survive a ping combo, so you go crit?
yeah,
I'm not so sold here, Cyclone.
yeah. Surprise! Matt Koiz shows up from around the corner.
He
but
legit
he's going to get dashed on.
is 2v1ing consistently in this lane so far. Nothing else has really happened on the map other than Koiz has just bullied the duo lane with pin after pin and then turning into an otter now and again. No, Mink.
Pretty much. Yeah, Taco.
I know. That's why I was like, Mink, real quick, just to make sure I got it right. But this red buff invade could happen from Koi setting up. Nope, it's Koi's getting engaged on.
And here's the rotation down to Jumpa and Covey, though. And the ring bounce not good enough, but there's the blink forward. And Jumpa able to find Bodilla.
Tell you what, if he had a bit more crit, he might have lived there. But now he's back in base, and the red buff's going to be stolen away.
Shrimp Gang was successfully taking away the opposition. And here comes Freya, and there goes Freya. 3 kills without a death so far for the Valkyrie. And Shrimp Gang find themselves up 2,500.
I mentioned the Cyclone composition of being quite mobile. Same can be said for Shrimp Gang. But the Honest isn't really coming into play just yet. Overgrown wasn't really able to help out with those portals too much. You're kind of looking for those space and times that jungle invades, not just to maybe deal damage or secure, but also provide extra routes around the jungle to give yourself a little bit more mobility, a little bit more reposition-esque chance in a situation.
You know, for a second, I thought you were trying to imply that Giannis roots players.
I mean, he technically does with a portal.
That's banish, actually.
But you stay still, so you're technically rooted.
I'm gonna. That's a banish.
Only one of your axes is change for a pole.
Okay.
So you can't move. Technically, that's what a root would do.
Well, you're moving.
It'll keep one of your
You are
axes from
moving.
moving. You can jump when you're rooted.
You can be targeted when you're rooted.
You can jump when you're rooted.
That's true. You can't jump when you're being portaled.
That is true.
It's because you're banished.
But you kind of have dots in you, just like Freya, and take damage.
Can you?
Yes, you can still take damage. There's a split second during a pull when you can't take damage during the pull, but the rest of the ticks will still hit you.
Well, ain't that so?
It can help you avoid like one tick, I believe.
Like a feather step?
Yeah, kind of like a feather step.
Overgrown right there has to feather step his way to the tower, if you will.
No, he pulled, Tom. He pulled.
I'm getting actually used against me.
I'm talking about a banish, not a pull through a wall. There's a difference.
Oh, man. 3-on-2, 3-on-1. I like that Shrimp Gang don't even go for that kill. They just pin, they walk away, they know what they're after.
Well,
Zaxi, on the other hand, uses the actual banish to get away. And with the ultimate used by Bodilla, he's going to be eaten. Covey, kill number 5.
Credit to Covey, though, because the ultimate coming out from him really did help out there. Caused a lot more problems, and Overgrown has to use the ultimate defensively to get away on top of that. But yeah, the apple from Covey actually prevented Bodilla from getting through the portal that Overgrown had down there. Crippled, but also the grogginess. It's technically back as drunk as state is the way to look at it. So he wasn't able to get to the portal in the first place, even though he would have been crippled to prevent him from going through.
Rough stuff there. Rough stuff there for sure. 5 kills and 4,000 gold. 3,500 above the opposition. Shrimp Gang feeling good, looking cute, feeling cute.
Yeah, it's not a terrible situation for Cyclone right now, though, even though they are down 4,000 gold already 8 minutes, which is a considerable amount of gold. The experience is a little bit closer. 4K in experience isn't as bad as 4K in gold at this stage of getting. But Bodilla is one of the only physicals they've got on this team. Now, I understand him going the crit in that sense. The main thing is Renjaru just has to continue farming and staying safe, but he's working towards a stacking item, which is taking a little bit longer to get online. Which means Freya's going to have a lot more lane dominance and potency with the fact she's already nearly completed this Bancroft's talent.
Right. Once the Bancroft talent comes online, it's going to give her the full benefit of the item. 100 power plus some when she takes some damage. Whereas Shibalake building in the Transcendence got 35 power plus some mana conversion. So you're talking about 45 power before stacks come on. And even I think 45 is pushing it. So you got to talk about the stacks. And like you were saying, it's just going to delay Benjaru's ascension. Yeah. It's going to delay that even more so.
I mean, hunters are always on a curve anyway in terms of how much damage they're going to output at different stages of the game. They're locking together around the 15 to 20 minute mark, having their stacking item completed and swinging away well against some of the tankier targets. Jabam could need some help here.
Yeah, there's the pull in from Jumpa one more time. Almost blocks himself with the Monolith, but able to dash on out of there, no problem.
That way so far, though, Cyclone haven't got anything going in this. This has all been Shrimp Gang rotating where they want to, putting pressure there, and forcing ultimates out of multiple members of Cyclone time again. And Renjaru is just caught way out of position.
Ooh,
he should still fall.
To the skies.
He's blind. Zaxi couldn't see. That was the main thing.
Yep.
Ult for ult trade. Beats down.
Very true. Red buff invade comes, and Jumpa will punish Bodilla for doing whatever he feels like. Here's the ultimate on top of the mid lane. Giannis. The block is all right,
Gets
but
his
not good.
beads as well. This is brutal. Like, Cyclone haven't had a single moment to go, hey,
No.
that was good. It's all been bad news bears consistently, and now Yarbad's gonna have to just watch as this Gold Fury goes down.
Nothing he can really do here, especially with McCoy zoning. And this one's going to be a Gold Fury for the Shrimp Gang. And 10-20 in. Shrimp Gang dialing it big. 5-4-1-5.
It's rough time. The start of this game, Cyclone try and invade the speed buff of Jumper with Bodilla. Bodilla doesn't secure it. Goes back to lane. Koi's double teams him 3 times in a row.
Easy.
Including relics. And then since then, Shrimp Gang have just continued to keep the pressure going. They're like, okay, red buff's up, let's go take it. Blue buff's up, let's go take it. How about some back harpies? Want a speed
go
buff?
take it.
Gold Fury? Jobs are good. Pyro's on the table now. That's next up.
Let's go take it.
Why not?
We're going to see that probably time and time again here as we're just now hitting our 11th minute and Shrimp Gang find themselves a slew of gold ahead. The experience also in that direction. Everybody on the side of Shrimp Gang is a level at least above their direct opposition, with the support being 2 levels high.
Like the idea of a bit of anti-heal early on coming out from Kobe here. Doesn't really need it on with the Divine Rune just yet, but it will come in handy later on. This game continues. If sustain becomes an issue, the likes of Terra will cause some problems. Same for Bodilla with the amount of sustain they have.
Beads used. That'll get a player out of trouble. Now Jabami got somebody on his backside, got somebody on his left side, and well, that'll be a relinquishment of control here. Covey by himself, 1 versus 2, trying to dance between the waves, and Bad Kid picks up the first kill for Cyclone. A nice little convergence onto the mid lane Discordia.
Important kill for Yarbad there, just to get himself on the board at some point, but now overgrown after getting the pick in mid lane with the help of the Al Kwang will go down on the rotation. Not sure where he was really rotating to. Maybe it was towards his own red buff, I guess. Trying to secure that, but Shrimp Gang, they may have lost Covey in mid, but they quickly rotate back over for the buffs in the jungle.
That said, Matt Goy is going to completely zone out anybody from Cyclone that even thinks about getting too close to the objective.
It's funny with how the games have gone as well so far. I mean, 12 minutes in this one as we're watching Ranjaro having to dash away again. He's got beads this time, also his ultimate, but Covey, sorry, I should say Koi's, is around the corner, and I don't think he realizes that yet.
Nope, and here's help from the support. Matt Koiz is here. A knockup or anything will be good enough, and it will be the basic. Bring Jaru now looking at Bodilla. Knockup is good. The ultimate gets him out of trouble, and Shrimp Gang find themselves up one more time.
Really wasn't so sure about that sash there from Bodilla. He's 0-5-0 already. He should just be farming to high heaven to the best of his ability now, trying to catch up. He's 3 levels down on Matt Koiz in the same role. And as a support assassin, it's a hard time.
Yeah, I mean, especially when you're playing this support assassin, what you're looking for is some of that power, some of that pressure. This little bit of crit is not egregious if Bodilla's 1-0-1 perhaps, but the fact that he's 0-5-0, now we're going to be very critical about this critical strike, and no pun intended, it's just not something that's going to go well for the state of the game that he finds himself in.
He really is relied on the RNG of that crit just coming in handy at the one time in the early game, but instead he's just going to get picked off again in the jungle. The rest of his team weren't really around to support. He did secure the speed, though. That's important.
And Nickwood secures a Bodilla. Love potion number 9 for Shrimp Gang.
Rough situation. Shrimp Gang just really are just rotating around the map. They're like a pack of wild animals right now.
Which animal would you say?
I was going to say a dire wolf, but I changed my mind.
Really?
Yeah.
I was going to go with maybe warthogs.
A pack of warthogs.
Yeah.
Is that a Halo reference?
No, I mean the actual animal with tusks.
Oh. Well, Zaxi could do with some tusks right about now, because
You don't need 'em.
Yarbad is behind him.
But look at the damage he's able to exert. There's an ultimate, beats the way, and the jungler going to be pushed away by the mid laner, and the hunter pushed away by the jungler. Great job there, rotation out of Shrimp Gang, saving the life of Zaxi and letting him live to see another day.
Yeah, it's starting to become a bit of an embarrassment now for Cyclone with how game one's gone. In all fairness, they're just holding on by the skin of the teeth with nothing. Like, they're not really holding on, to be fair. They're losing multiple lanes. That was a gank attempt from Yarbad Kid, combining with Ranjaro, that turned into an 0-for-2 situation. Why even bother?
Yeah, I think that was the last time that Cyclone can play a regular game here, right? They need to be creative at this point. I think if they wind up with a win there and that's in that team fight, then they can continue playing regular Smite. But here, after losing that one, Shrimp Gang up like 5,000, 6,000 gold, now you've got to start being a little bit more
Proactive.
I don't know if proactive is the word. I
I was
think
going to say, like, the way they played the game so far, though, Tom, like, they kind of been reactive to everything. The composition is designed to be reactive to aggression from Shrimp Gang, but the problem is the aggression started so early that Cyclone weren't even ready to start.
the word I'm looking for is trepidatious. Cautious would be a little bit too safe, and proactive is a little bit too unsafe. I need the team to be cautiously optimistic about team fights. Understand that you are on the outside looking in, but if you find a window, go for it. And so Cyclone, I want to be involved, but definitely safely involved.
But I think it's already too far behind now. I mean, tier 1 tower down in mid and the left-hand lane, 2 Furies taken, 1 gold, 1 primal at this point. And you've not really controlled much of your jungle at all. I don't think you've got 2 players with a second relic so far. That's worrying when the whole other side of it has relics. I really like the meditation out of Matt Coy's there as well. Not something you see all the time, but it'll be very useful against the likes of an Ao Kwang who's looking for the executes, meditation bait at the right timing, and meditation is still really useful if you can get to level 20.
Severely underpurchased, I think. In the early game, in the very, very early game, Shell kind of takes precedence, but then the mid-game, meditation is just better effective health than the shield that you're getting from Shell. And then in the late game, it depends on the characters, in all honesty. I'd rather have a Shell against characters like Bakasura or Kalima, whereas when I'm looking at this composition out of Cyclone, I would absolutely prefer the meditation because, oh, I'm in execute threshold, JKLOL, I'm going to dish it back to you as soon as that happens.
Oh, Dilla trying to escape now. Still got his ultimate available. Will need to use it to get away. Different story though for the Terror. Actually, tell a lie. It's the same story for Terror. She has to use her ult and run away too. Sure. That's the game.
Yeah.
Cyclone pops an ult and runs, and Shrimp Gang takes whatever they want. I guess that's why they're a gang of shrimp, right?
Makes sense. Makes sense. The crustaceans coming together to crush the opposition. Big damage from Jumpa onto the enemy jungle. Fire Giant down to about 40%. Nickwood gonna peel with the rest of the squad. Overgrown here as well. Ultimate is online for the Yanis. Now would be the time to use it. Lines it up, fires a shot, and it's gonna be leashed at a perfect time. Shrimp Gang in control. Jamba Chimp goes down.
And then they go straight back to the Fire Giant to the Shrimp Gang again. What's up?
I mispronounced his name and I apologize.
It's okay.
Jabami Chip. That's my mistake there.
He can complain when he starts winning games. At the moment, he's not winning, though. That's the problem I see. The Cyclone, they really don't look good here, and I'm really offended by it because of the fact that, like, Shrimp Gang are #1 in the league right now, and Cyclone are #2, but it looks like a massive divide between them just in this one game.
Well, let me tell you. It's because there's a massive divide between them just in this one game.
Really? For just this one game?
No, we'll see in game number 2, but this is lopsided, slanted, tough to match up.
Well, I mean, at least we might get a game 3, right? With how this is going?
That's the thought process. You want to root for Cyclone to be able to find the answer to Shrimp Gang. But the problem is, what is that answer? I think we can look at picks and bans and say that perhaps letting Freya through was a mistake. I think a lot of people in chat will probably lean on that. I think that's the easiest one to look at if you're an armchair analyst. And to a certain extent, I'd say it's true, but I think there's so much more going wrong than just they have Freya, we lose.
I don't think Freya was really... Like, Zaxxy's 4-0-7 now, and it's not really a shot at Zaxxy's play because he's not done anything wrong, but he wasn't really needed to be involved. It was all started by Koi's on this Erlangshan in the duo, and it's just progressed around the map.
And that's really what I was kind of getting at. I'm so glad you're here in the booth with me because I think that Zaxxy could have been 4-0-8 on... Pick a character, Hindu.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that this is a Freya.
Hachiman.
Yeah, Hachiman. I mean,
right?
go even weirder.
Oh, weirder?
Nuwa ADC is 4-0-8 at this point because Matt Coys has been able to just successfully set up. Shout out to Matt Coys. There are 15 kills in 19 minutes, and he's been a part of 14 of them.
But the surprising thing about this is the snowball in the early game has been reduced consistently. And the latest patch that just came through reduced how much you get from stealing the jungle. Sure, you steal away experience that they would have got, but you don't get as much of a lead as you once did. Yet this lead was just continued to be pressured by Shrimp Gang. Now they're looking at tier 2 towers before the 20-minute mark. I mean, they've got a Fire Giant around the waist, obviously. This is definitely one-sided. And the only thing I'm looking at is maybe Overgrown hits a big ultimate to turn this game around.
I think even then it's going to be a little bit too rough.
I don't think he's got the damage.
Yeah.
Chronos Pendant isn't the sort of item you're looking for to get big swings and turnarounds. I mean, Soul Gem will help, but not enough, I don't think.
So I like this Giannis build, I'll be honest with you. I think it makes more sense than some of the straight power builds that we've seen. Giannis only has one ability that does damage, right? Realistically speaking, I know that Portal does damage and you can ultimate, but realistically speaking, we're talking about Unstable Vortex.
He did sell his crit at least.
Thank
That's
God.
the main thing.
Thank God.
Best advice I'll ever give anyone, though, don't sell an item. Try
I
not
don't
to
know
sell
about
your
that.
items.
I don't know about
Starter
that.
items are fine in the later stage of the game to finish off an item, but any other item you should probably just keep if you're going to end up investing into it later on anyway.
So I like this idea by Bodilla, and I'll tell you why. I think that the idea of an even or a head Naja support with a single critical strike item, or even just that rank 1 or rank 2, because Flaming Spear is going to give you a lot of critical strike as is, and your Sash has the ability to critical strike, right? So if
Sure.
you want to build a little bit and then trade it out later for some meaningful items, which is what we see, if he sold that item to finish Oni Hunter's Garb, I like it. I'm all aboard. But if you just randomly sell it because it's not working out, that's really when you're running into trouble.
There's only X amount of gold you're going to get in a game, though, right?
1/3.
And when you invest it into an item, if you sell that item, you lose gold efficiency on that overall.
Yeah, you lose 2/3 of your investment.
And that's the worst thing about it. Like, whatever stages.
It's like buying a
you're
car.
Yeah, it is. I hate that. Why can't it hold its value? You know?
As soon as you leave that fountain, that car is
It's not
depreciated,
shiny
baby.
anymore. You know, that's the whole thing. The same with the critical strike. But I'm not a big fan of it unless you really do need to sell it for something that you're going to be replacing that slot with. At that moment in time, it's worth just keeping hold of it. Even though it was a bad investment at the time, sometimes you just got to still hold on to those investments.
Right side Phoenix is where it is. Meanwhile, the jungler Jumpa can be over there in the mid. Overgrown with an ultimate. That just tickles. Although Zaxi takes a big chunk. I don't even know where that damage came from. But it was after the fact.
Okay.
And that's good enough to force Shrimp Gang up the lane.
And now just force them back. Remember, the Fire Giant is off them now for a moment or two. So
Yep.
it's a bit of a window for Cyclone to farm up a little bit more. Try and catch up some of these levels, which they are desperately needing right now. Pretty much everyone is down 2 levels in their opposition overall. And nothing really in the jungle for them to take. So a holding moment, I guess.
22 minutes in. And Shrimp Gang have 15. Cyclone! 1. 13,500 gold is the lead as well.
I was pausing to see if someone was getting attacked then, just
Nope.
to see, but no,
Nope. That time was just for effect.
wasn't the case.
No, we call that the switcheroo. I build it up like it's big, and it's little.
It's such a weird game.
what that's
this
like.
one. What?
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 So did I get?
The big games?
Build it up like it's big and let it down because it's little? Is that what you just said?
Something like that.
Okay. Fire Giant started up again, and there's no enhanced Fire Giant just yet 'cause it's still not even 25 minutes. This
Oh
is
my goodness, you're right.
Tom, me and you have casted a lot of games together over the years, right?
A couple here and there.
But this one is the one where I'm like, wow, this is one of the most sided and hard to commentate games because Cyclone are 4-man in a red buff on the left-hand side, but the other team does Fire Giant. They've not found the window back into it, and it really does. This game ended with Matt Coy's on the Erlang shed. I've said it multiple times already.
I agree.
The rest of the team could have just been walking woods with how this game played out.
I love that they. So I saw a post on Reddit the other day breaking down how to successfully split the jungle.
Yeah.
And they were talking about, so you get 100% of the gold
good talk.
experience if you go ahead and you clear the camp, right? If you share it with 2 people, it's 20%. Share it with 3 people, it's 40%. Share it with 4 people, you're trolling, is what it said at the bottom. And I'm like, yeah, that's pretty accurate. Unrelated, Cyclones 4-man split the red buff on the left side of the map as Shrimp Gang look for the push.
Unrelated, they also used 3 ultimates in the last Phoenix defense just then, and now Shrimp Gang with 3 ultimates still up of their own are now looking to aggress around Phoenix one more time. Already pinned Bodilla, who's currently 0-7. Rough game.
Rough stuff indeed.
I mean, I know I'm calling them out for 0-7, but I mean, there's only 1 kill on the entire team, so it's still not great looks.
Nope, and it's the jungler, bad kid, with a good slash line, 1, 2, and 0.
Can he be
right
called the
side
bad
Phoenix.
kid? Oh yeah, he
still-
can, he's dead.
There it is. Well, it's still pretty healthy.
I was going to give him credit, but like, can he be called the bad kid? He was the only one with a kill. Oh, cancel that. Cast a curse.
Triple knockup, though. Cast a curse that yourself, homie. Bodilla in trouble. Not good enough. And Matt Coy is going to be on the chase. Couple of basics will do it, but he can't find it. The team falls back, and Shrimp Gang will be disciplined enough to look for the mid lane Phoenix.
Discipline within reason. Koi's a little bit overextended there, a little bit too overconfident. Another space and time from Overgrown. One of their last real hopes falls away. The Shrimp Gang are still resustaining off the Fire Giant, remember?
Dash forward from Terra will keep them at bay for the moment. but just for the moment. Shrimp Gang still here looking for the push one more time. Mid lane Phoenix in trouble as the rest of the team slowly filters in. Half HP thanks to the hunter work. Good job so far from Zaxi. Now turning around is going to be the rest of Cyclone. Down goes the bird. And another retreat coming out from Shrimp Gang. Just kidding. Jumpa going to grab 3, take 1 down, and still get out of there. Freya to the skies as she sends the Ao Kuang back to the fountain.
Just getting slowly farmed off of cooldown is what's happening here. Jump is a little bit over-aggressive. Good news is, though, if you're a Cyclone fan, they got another kill.
Bodilla.
I actually don't know where on Cyclone you need to look at first for what we need to change. I think the first thing is what Bodilla did at the start. This felt like Cyclone were trying to cause some problems for Shrimp Gang in the jungle at the beginning of the game. It didn't pay off for them.
Yeah.
And then ever since that moment, they've been trailing consistently. And Shrimp Gang were just like, okay, cool. You went for a level 1 invade. It didn't work out. And now we collect all the benefits of the mistake.
So if you're just a console fan, you haven't watched the PC Pro League on the Thursdays and Fridays. Basically what happens is we see mainly Neil Ma, but a number of these support players have just gone into this harass role where they follow the enemy jungler, they poke them, and essentially are severely under-leveled. We see Neil Ma level 1, while his compatriots are level 4, level 5. And again, I say this all the time in the broadcast about many different things, Hindu. You got to learn the rules before you break them, and that's an advanced strategy that... And I don't mean to discredit Cyclone or speak down to them, but what I saw out of Bodilla there was I watched somebody do this and I don't understand the nuance.
But Tom, yeah, you don't understand the nuance because it's old tech. It doesn't get used anymore because the patch has already changed things. This is a meta that we saw of these supports level 1 invading the speed buff, causing problems for them. But that should drift now. Like, that speed buff isn't as important. Sure, trying to delay the jungle a little bit, definitely worthwhile, but you want to make sure you at least hold your lane advantages where you've got them. And realistically, when you look at a Narjar at level 1 alongside a Xbalanque, you have a bit of kill potential in the lane against a Freya at the level 1, level 2 era. You give that up a little bit, you put pressure on yourself, and that's exactly what happened.
If you successfully steal the speed buff, I'm already more so on the side of the Narjar. But the speed buff steal was a little bit too late on a character who is gifted speed buff invades. I mean, that ring bounce is so potent.
Yeah.
And he was just a little bit too late.
Definitely one of the strongest in terms of invasions and putting pressure on in lane in phase 2, but didn't work out for them. And ever since then, it's just been crumble, crumble, crumble across the map because everyone knew Cyclone's dual lane was behind. That puts the mid lane and the jungle. And now they've only got one Phoenix on the left-hand side, and the overground just missed the ult.
Right side minions are coming through, and mid lane will join as well. Titan already taking damage. Jumpa goes down, and the rest of Cyclone will back up to defend the Titan, who finds itself at half HP. Shrimp Gang have to retreat because they don't have their jungler any longer.
I will say the patience out of Shrimp Gang, though. I mean, they could realistically run it down mid and end the game at this point, but they're taking it relatively slow, picking their moments wisely. They're not overextending.
Right.
At least as a team, anyway.
Yeah, as a unit, they're certainly doing what they want to do. Jumpa, I think, got a little bit too aggressive there, 7, 2, and 4, as he falls down for the second time this game. But Shrimp Gang are doing everything they need to be. They're up over 10,000 gold. They tried to play over-aggressive. It didn't work out. I think, hell, I don't even think they need a Fire Giant, but they'll go for it. They'll grab the Fire Giant just to be safe, shove down the right side lane, and then finish off this Titan, which is below half HP.
Such an awkward commentary position because we're like, well, what do we fix? I mean, pick some bans. You can't really look at them with how the beginning of the game started, and it's just fallen away from them ever since. There's not really been a chance for Yarbad Kid to make an impression on the game, so to speak, because he's been trailing and trying to follow around whatever the situation requires him to in terms of trying to get farm and support the other lanes that are struggling.
Exactly. This is just one of those games where, listen, even Babe Ruth struck out. This is one of those situations where, as a team, as a unit, your entire squad has dropped the ball. Bodilla unsuccessfully pulled off, or excuse me, did not pull off the beginning of the game strategy, itemized strangely. The Giannis was never put in a position to succeed because Bad Kid just wasn't able to succeed either. That solo lane got tilted out of control with Niquid just controlling championship as well. It just really was not Cyclone's game. I'm happy that they haven't surrendered because they use this time right now to figure out what to fix in game number 2.
Yeah.
But this is absolutely a loss drawn up from almost minute 1.
Well, I mean, they're at least equal level at this point, not equal in gold. And you see the terror on the front line. The rest of the team couldn't even get enraged. That was including Darkest of Nights.
Yeah, that was a little bit rough there. The Darkest of Nights came out at the wrong time. Right there, you want the Terra Ultimate to be the all-in button, but instead, Renjaro uses his Darkest of Nights kind of defensively. Everything awry right now, and I think this is just indicative of what happens when you spiral out of control as a team.
Completely, and this should be game one going to Shrimp Gang here. They take down the middle Phoenix. Renjaru's running back to high heaven. Yarbird at least gets one on the tail end. Oh, sorry, I said your bad kid. You bad kid. Is that what it's supposed to be?
Yes.
But you couldn't say you, so he said yar.
I suppose.
Is he a pirate?
Yar.
Pirate bad kid.
Well, Shrimp Gang is certainly going to snatch this one away as Zaxi finds the deicide in the fountain. Shrimp Gang takes it. 30-25 on the clock. 22-4.
I'm already looking for a game two, going, okay, let's just not have the start of game one, please. If we're going to look for invades, sure, no problem, but let's not give him too much pressure in the laning phase. Koi's caused too many problems with the Erlang Shen. Definitely MVP for me.
There was just a whole lot of nothing on the other side. Cyclone, a better team than we just saw here, which is why I'm being so critical right now. We have seen them perform better. I understand that Shrimp Gang are the numero uno, but there just wasn't any response, and even when we saw the step forward come out from these guys, Cyclone unable to make it happen. Hopefully in game number 2, that'll turn around. For now, let's go to the desk.
And we'll break it down here for you, Tom. A very impressive win for Shrimp Gang. No, I don't think a surprising win. This is the top of the class there in PS4 in A, and they played like it. Particularly Matt Koi's Erlang Shen ran the early game.
I like the fact that they tested him. They banned away his Khepri. They took away even a Bacchus to see what he's truly capable of. And up against a Naja support, he whoops out the Erlang Shen. Goes 1-0-18 in his team's 22 total kills. Fantastic support performance. And whenever you have Discordia in the mid lane to benefit from that passive, and hey, by the way, there's a Freya next to him as well. There wasn't really much hope in this duo lane here between the Xbalanque and the Naja.
No, that really didn't work out for them. I want to hear your thoughts on that head and dagger start, the tier 1 that the Naja went with.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what happened. I mean, there's not a lot to do with that number 1 spot that's so valuable for support, so there is some room to play around with it. But maybe you get that crit, it's a lucky chance it comes out, and that pressure might be enough for you to just win the lane outright. I mean, what are your thoughts on it?
Risk versus reward. It's just not worth the risk. At the end of the day, like, if you're going to go for damage on any level 1 start, you might as well get guaranteed mace damage. Get that extra 15 physical power. Those ring bounces are going to start hurting even extra. Your basic attacks are going to be packing in quite a bunch. To rely on crit at level 1 and level 2, it's just not worth it.
Yeah, and you end up having to sell it anyway, which I think was the right call for him. Like, almost certainly you didn't want to build out of that one, but there's a lot that Shrimp Gang did right in that game, so I don't think the Hidden Dagger was the end-all, be-all by any means, just one interesting thing we saw. Jumpa, though, in a lot of ways was big impact from this Susano. I believe between him and Matt Koi's, their pressure into the jungle of Cyclone was relentless in this game.
Oh yeah, whenever you have an assassin like Susanoo accompanied by Erlang Shen, whether it's solo lane or support, doesn't matter. You're going to be doing some highlight plays, and that's kind of what happened off of their early game lead, controlling that many objectives, getting a Phoenixes very cleanly. They didn't even falter at all, giving up any in return. They were ending the game very cleanly, just like Rival did in the European side of things.
And that was allowed for them to pass that baton over to Zaxi on this Freya, right? 6-0 and 11, and way up at the top of the player damage chart towards the end. Even got that last kill in the fountain as the game ended out, too. So very impressive performance to them. You heard Tom talk a little bit, too, about how Cyclone's better than this, and I think normally they would be, but this feels almost like an entirely different roster from them, right? Your Bad Kid and Bodilla, yeah, those guys have been playing with them, but, I mean, Renjaru, Overgrown, Jabami, I mean...
Yeah, Overgrown specifically.
Yeah.
Is the newer addition to this team. So I'm not entirely sure how they're clicking and synergizing, and it's very tricky when you're going up against a team like Shrimp Gang that has that kind of synergy. Like, they've been playing together for just so long. So not only is it against a difficult team, but a team that's trying to figure out their own identity here.
Yes.
So Cyclone needing to kind of switch it up for game 2. I like the Naja, but against a Freya and an Erlang Shen, and then Discordia passive to worry about. That early game aggression didn't work out for Cyclone.
It didn't work out. They're going to have to go to the drawing board and try and make some adjustments here. They have a chance to do that now in game number 2.